welcome back to the Fell Kingdoms YouTube channel. My name is Ari, and I'm back with another video. If you noticed, within the last 3 months, I haven't really posted any material where you actually see my face, and that's namely because my wife just had our daughter in September, so it's been very difficult it's been very hard to try to get everything set up, get the mic set up, get the camera set up, get the computer, get the lights set up. It was just too much of a hassle to try to put all that in there. But if you haven't been following the YouTube channel, I actually posted a video a month ago where I'm analyzing the TV show The Good Place, and I analyze the problem, and I provide a solution to its heaven problem. And I also just uploaded a new song. It's about my wife and it's about my daughter, so you guys should watch that. It's down. Well, it's on my YouTube page. I probably won't put it in the description. Without further ado, we're going to be reacting to this video by the Jude 3 Project. If you don't know what the Jude 3 Project is, the Jude 3 Project is basically this apologetics-oriented organization headed by the president, which is her name is Lisa Fields. You'll see her in this video that's coming up. And so I basically just wanted to react to this video and give my 2 cents. That's if it's worth anything. And so, just as some preamble, Lisa, she stresses that the reason why when you watch this video, especially if you're a Christian, you won't see her trying to, rebuttal or to respond to anything that these people say is because she believes that the best apologetic for the Christian is listening. That's the best apologetic for the Christian, and understanding people's position. And I agree. But when you are on a public platform and you're releasing this kind of material out into the public, 9 times out of 10, there's going to be somebody that's going to analyze it and see if what they're saying in the video actually holds water. So I'm not doing this to smite or to basically refute these people, not out of like this apologetic task to try to defend the faith or anything like that. I'm basically going to be in conversation with the things that they say as they're saying it, and I'm just going to be giving my 2 cents as they're saying it. So without further ado, here goes the video. Now this video here is, by the way, go to the Jude 3 Project's YouTube channel and like and subscribe. They actually release really good apologetic information and even theological information videos on their channel. So go and like and subscribe to their page. So this particular video is called "Do you consider yourself a Christian?" That's the question, and the people within the video are going to answer the question: do they consider themselves a Christian? So let's dive in.
That it won't be a challenging experience, but an enjoyable experience where I'm listening to you all. Since y'all no longer go to church, do you consider yourself Christian, or do you not consider yourself Christian any longer? And why would you say that?
At the start of my journey, I said I'm not Christian. I consider myself spiritual.
Okay.
However, I had a realization that what I was trying to separate and delineate myself from was not Christianity, it was religion. Mm-hmm. It was the social construct of religion and the business of religion. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, those are 2 separate entities. I am a Christian, but I am not religious.
Mm-hmm. When you say spiritual, what does that mean?
Like she was talking about earlier, having my own relationship with God. Mm-hmm. I commune with God through my own way. I don't have to go to anybody. I speak to God for myself. Mm-hmm. I ask God for help in discerning things in the spirit with my intuition and trusting the wisdom that He imparted in me from creation.
Mm-hmm. Boom. Sorry.
Okay, so basically she said that the thing that she was trying to basically shake off was this whole concept of so I think it's sort of problematic to to a certain point, because like when people say that they're spiritual and not religious, like it seems to me, it seems very naive to a sense, because
own home church, and I should be, involved in a body, which is just human nature, tend to be consistent. So that's why we go to one. But
okay, so it kind of skipped out a little bit, but basically what he was saying is that, will he ever go back to church? Yes, at some point when he thinks he's found the right church. And the thing about all of this is that I think the real question is look, if you're a Christian, you have to get this particular question down. Is attending and being a part of a church necessary for the Christian life? Now, I know a lot of people would say no, it's probably not necessary, but this is the real problem with this. This is the real problem with the very fact that why people don't go to church, because one, they don't feel as if it's necessary to go to church, or maybe they do feel it's necessary, but they don't feel as if being a part of a congregation is something which is morally binding on them. And the reason why these people feel that way, and they will still call themselves a Christian, is because they exist in a Protestant understanding of their faith. And because they exist in a Protestant understanding of their faith, they don't find the biblical objective of the church itself, like being within the community, being absolutely necessary. Or at least they don't find it to be necessary to a point where they don't find it to be necessary as the Eastern Orthodox or the Catholics believe. The Catholics believe that if you do not have Eastern Orthodox believe it too, but if you don't exist under a bishop in the line of apostolic succession, and you do not attend a particular parish or a church, whatever you want to call it, who has a priest that has been ordained by the bishop within the line of the apostolic succession, you are not a Christian. And this thinking stems back to the earliest centuries of the church. If you are not underneath a bishop, you are not a Christian. And most Protestants, like these particular people, just like basically every other Protestant, and even me, even in terms of Eastern Orthodoxy and Catholicism, I'm considered a heretic because I don't have, and I'm not under a bishop, and I'm not a part of the church yet. So this is the thing. Why you don't go to church, or do you consider yourself a Christian? It's always going to be to a point of, it's completely and utterly subjective in terms of how you define how you define a Christian. Like pretty much, I'm pretty sure that everyone sitting at this table will have a different understanding of what it means to be a Christian. And so the problem is do you still consider yourself a Christian? I think the real question is like, who gave you the right to determine that for yourself? Who gave you the right to determine what a Christian is for yourself? And so this is partly the reason why I'm so uncomfortable being within the realm of Protestantism, because Protestantism sort of just makes it loosey-goosey in terms of, what is a Christian, like some people will say, well, if you believe that Jesus is God, that he died for your sins, and you're a Christian, right? Okay, but what about them? What about people not going to church? Because there's hundreds of Christians who don't go to church, and they still would claim to be Christian, right? And so my big gripe with probably them, and pretty much other Christians who are within the Protestant umbrella is, who told you that you're a Christian? Like, and on top of that, how do you know that you are in the right church? How do you know that you are underneath the right authority, church authorities? Like, Protestantism just doesn't make sense to me anymore. And honestly, this roundtable is just making me like think, well, yeah, this is the reason why it doesn't make sense to me anymore, because you have so many people who still profess to be Christians, yet they don't go to church. They're probably not even looking for a church. They hold on to these weird tautologies where they say that they're spiritual and not religious, and then they say they have this weird terminology to define their theology. It's so weird. It's just really weird, and it makes me uncomfortable to be within that sphere. And so this is the reason why I've been considering Eastern Orthodoxy and Catholicism, more so Catholicism.
Yes, I do consider myself to be a Christian still. I think for a long time I wanted to let go of the word Christian because of all the negative, yes, that came along with, Christian, because everybody's a Christian, these days. But nobody's Christ-like. And so...
See, I mean, they will even admit that the term Christian, right? The term Christian is sort of fluid in a sense. But even then they will say, but nobody's Christ-like, right? What does that mean? Like, what does that mean to you? What does being Christ-like mean to you? Because in Eastern Orthodox or a Catholic, and even some Protestants would say that being Christ-like is being this way. 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 And so it just comes down to all of this just equals theological chaos to a certain extent. Everybody is just out over here and over here, just believing what they want to believe, and they're picking and choosing what they want to believe, right? It's so much theological chaos. Like even the first lady in the glasses, in the red plaid shirt, she basically said that she's basically doing her own thing, right? She's just basically, it's just her and God. She's just doing her own thing, and it's like. Who gave you the authority and who gave you the power to think that you can do that? Like, what about Christianity says that you can go off on your own and do your own thing? And it's very weird. And just to make sure I'm not getting on to these people, I'm just saying that, like, I guess the worldview that spawns this kind of thinking, it just is sort of out there. It's outdated to me.
So again, it went back to my own spiritual journey of those ups and downs and just trying to find where I fit in all of this, breaking down what I believed for myself. And I still have a ton of questions. Like, you brought 2 new ones. that I could add to my list. You brought more to that, but I will never stop asking questions. In my career field, I'm a behavior analyst, and one of the major things we do is called philosophic doubt. Always ask questions. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always going to ask why. I'm not going to just say because I said so. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to just take, well, this is how we do things. Like, but why do we do these?
I think that's I don't know, man. I would have considered myself to be a fallibilist, where I don't think that I can be 100% certain about anything. I still think I am to a certain extent, but I just find presuppositionalism to sort of be a little bit more persuasive to a certain extent, because okay, she says, she's a behavioral analyst, right? And one of the things that they press is that to doubt everything, right? To doubt constantly, to always question, basically. But the point is that that whole thing is operating within a particular paradigm of beliefs, right? And all of those paradigms of beliefs assume certain things, right? And those assumptions, like you're basically talking about a method to truth, like a methodology to truth. But the point is that I think that what presuppositionalism actually does right, and I think it actually points out a really big not a big problem, but a problem in this kind of methodology, right, to doubt everything, would be that even those particular methodologies are basically like it's supported by something else more fundamental, right? So it's like, okay, to doubt something, to question something, it entails some type of sense of rationality. It's like, okay, you're questioning something. Well, something doesn't add up when you're questioning something, right? You don't rationally, you don't believe. If you question something, you don't believe that you have a adequate justification to accept that particular belief, right? But the point is that whole entire framework needs to be justified itself, right? And so this is what I think presuppositionalists actually get right. So I've been listening a lot.
And the more that you dig deeper, you may realize, this isn't for me, or like, what, there's still questions. Let me go a little bit deeper. Let me go further into all the religions, all the things, and find out where I fit and what path I'm supposed to be walking on. Me being a Christian, I'll know what path I'm going to stay on because I solely 100% believe that that's the truth. It's just I had to get to a place where I believed what I was trying to tell people. And so I didn't I stopped telling people about Jesus. Sorry, Lord. I stopped doing that because it was like, am I telling you what I really believe, or am I just regurgitating what I've heard?
Right. You wanted to know for yourself.
I wanted to know.
Right.
So when people did have a question, and I have an answer for that because I've studied, I've dug deep to try to find the answer and the understanding, so I can help someone if they're ask a question, I have no idea. We can figure it out together because that's
well, like I said before. I think what really happens is most of the time that stuff is not going to help. In my experience, there's been so many people that I know who have basically just tossed Christianity to the side. It didn't matter how much apologetic material and information that I could provide. It never really made headway. So I think what really happens is that the best way to do it is to question the paradigm that person is operating in. So, I mean, this is why I'm sort of leaning towards presuppositionalism to question the justifications for the paradigm that they're operating in. So, it's even what she just said. I think all of that applies to the presuppositionalist approach.
a really good question, and I'll write that one down, and we can, try to find an answer. But I think sometimes,
and I do agree with her. There's historical information that about the Christian faith that I believe is absolutely important, right? So I'm not saying that I'm utterly opposed to giving information that Jesus exists. Well, yes, Josephus mentions Jesus's brother, James, and things like that, or in Tacitus, and Pliny the Younger, and things like that. They mention, I'm fine with that, but I just think questioning the paradigm is more effective than giving this whole apologetic spiel, and it probably won't ever get anywhere.
sometimes there is no answer, or it's not an answer that we like.
Right. Well, for me, I would say if you gave me a multiple choice of all religions, I'm gonna say Christian because that's what I identify with, it's what I grew up as. But in reality, I am more spiritual now. Like what she was saying, because
is your definition of spiritual the same as hers, or would it be?
It's pretty much, I just would spin it by saying, as a child, you know when you're doing something wrong before you ever step foot in the church. And I think that's your spirituality, engaging with God.
Do we though? I mean, I don't know if we do, to be honest with you. I think that people sort of, I think like morality is so embedded within us, culturally speaking, socially speaking, that we sort of just believe that that's the case, right? That we just sort of believe that, yo, when I was younger, I already knew that murdering somebody was wrong. Like, how like, no, I don't think I did. Like that's a concept that I was just way too young to comprehend, to murder somebody, to take a life of another person unjustly. Like, there's so much things that encapsulate morality that, to just say that we knew this before this particular Christian or Judeo-Christian paradigm was introduced to us. Was it? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's the case.
Right there, he's telling you, if you see some candy you want, you're not gonna pay for it, you're gonna try to walk out with it. Something in you, before anyone ever tells you anything about that, know it's wrong. And
that, I mean, I can sort of be that point of contention here, because there was times when I was younger, I stole. And I didn't think anything bad of it until somebody told me that it was wrong. Until someone told me that it was wrong. So maybe what it is that, I mean, this is the whole point about moral intuitions, that it's so difficult to to decipher moral intuitions, right? He's saying like, yo, when I was younger, I immediately knew that doing this was wrong. It's like, well, like, maybe not everybody, because I'm a person who I did not know what the concept of stealing was when I was younger, until somebody told me what it was, right? And so I just think that these moral intuitions become so embedded in us socially and culturally, to the point that we sort of deceive ourselves into thinking that it's just so naturally intuitive to everybody, and I don't think that's the case.
And now as an adult, as I battle with making certain decisions for certain things, I always get answers that come in different forms that's inexplicable. And I think the ability to identify that, to be able to discern those things, is spirituality. Because I think a lot of times throughout my younger life, there were signs in front of me. They were like, man, I ignored that and I got burned because of it. So I think identifying those things and then, acting on those things that you see that God is putting in front of you, the creator, whatever you want to call it, I think, to me, that's spirituality. That's my form of spirituality.
It's like this whole spirituality thing is so awkward to me, right? Because I mean, honestly, I hear a lot of people say that, yo, God led me to this, God led me to that, right? I'm sort of skeptical about that, to be honest, because like, why assume that was God? Like the Orthodox, they have this thing, right, where they assume that anything that could possibly be supernatural to them, that it's possibly a delusion, whether it's good or not. Like, I can't remember what saint it was, but the saint basically said, and he's an Orthodox saint, he basically said, like, yo, even if you are visited by visions of Jesus Christ himself, right, assume that is a demonic entity trying to deceive you, right? And so it's like, it's so weird when people say, and maybe they're right, I'm not saying that they're wrong, but it's like, it's so weird when they say, yo, man, I felt God guiding me, because honestly, I've never felt that. I've never felt that in my life. I've never felt like, yo, God led me here. Like, for instance, when I married my wife, I didn't feel like God tapping on my shoulder or God speaking to me or saying anything about God, about me marrying my wife. I love my wife. I thought it was the time, so I did it, right? There wasn't any like thing incorporeal thing guiding me to that particular decision. And so it's just weird the way that the way that people tend to say that, like, yo, I felt God guiding me here. Maybe they're right. And, you know, I'm not, like I said before, I'm not coming to this as a professional, as an expert or anything like that. I'm just coming here as a lowly brother that has opinions and want to give my 2 cents in it. So it's just weird when people talk about spirituality like that. To me.
There's not enough human behavior inside what we do in the church sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So I hope y'all have enjoyed this conversation as much as I have.
Well, that was it. So, you know, the thing about this whole thing is that I do find these conversations to be really helpful. I'm actually okay with Lisa not really saying, you know, not really responding, maybe asking a clarifying question here and there, and it's really good. Like, I really like these things. I really enjoy them. I really enjoy having these kinds of dialogue, and I actually have these kinds of dialogue, you know, with people. I actually have a person who's a Buddhist, you know, who's a friend of mine, and I don't try to like persuade him into Christianity per se. You know, he has his beliefs, right? And 9 times out of 10, I probably won't persuade him into Christianity. Like, I mean, that's just what it is. And so, but it's always good to let him know that, like, yo, I don't just see that in you. I actually see you as a person and actually care about the things that you believe, and I'm interested in what you believe, and which is very good. So this has been R.E. Spivey with the Fellow Kingdoms YouTube channel. This has been a reaction of the Jude 3 Project's current video series. Do you consider yourself a Christian? We'll be back with more videos and more content in the near future. Be on the lookout for the podcast. We're going to resume. We're going to resume doing the podcast in the near weeks, maybe in the next month. So also be on the lookout for music. So thank you for watching.